When data is disorganized, locating a single point requires a brute force approach. A mechanical sensor must inspect every individual block in a chaotic stream. This is a linear search. While it works for small sets, it fails at the scale of modern computing, where checking every entry one by one creates a massive bottleneck. As the numbers organize, to move past linear inspection, we need a specific structure. Binary search has one non-negotiable prerequisite: the data must be sorted. By ensuring the data is ordered, the algorithm no longer needs to start at the beginning. Instead, it immediately inspects the exact middle element of the array. Comparing the target to this midpoint creates a clear choice. If the target doesn't match, the algorithm deduces which half of the data to keep and which half to discard. Humans use this logic intuitively with physical dictionaries. You don't read from page 1 to find a word. You open to the middle and decide whether to turn left or right. This process of breaking a problem into smaller subproblems is the basis of the divide and conquer strategy. Once the data is sorted, search moves from simple inspection to logical deduction. With a single comparison, the system removes 50% of the remaining workload. To see this in practice, we'll search this 7-element array for the value 70. We define our search space with a low pointer at index 0 and a high pointer at index 6. First, the algorithm finds the middle. 0 plus 6 divided by 2 gives us index 3. The mid pointer locks on to the value 40. Since our target, 70, is greater than 40, we know it cannot be in the lower half. The algorithm strikes out everything from 10 to 40. The low boundary now slides to index 4. We have reduced our search space to just 3 elements. We repeat the calculation. 4 plus 6 divided by 2 gives us a new midpoint at index 5. The value here is 60. Again, 70 is greater than our midpoint. The algorithm discards 50 and 60, and the low pointer moves to index 6. Finally, with both pointers at index 6, the calculation yields index 6. The midpoint matches our target, and the search is successful. If our target had been smaller than the midpoint, the algorithm would have moved the high boundary left instead of moving the low boundary right. If the target isn't in the list, these boundaries eventually cross each other. When low becomes greater than high, the search terminates without a match. This mechanical boundary shifting causes the search space to collapse geometrically until only the target remains. We can express this logic through an iterative loop. In this code, a while loop continuously updates the pointers until the target is found or the boundaries overlap. Alternatively, we can use recursion. Here, the function doesn't loop. Instead, it calls a new version of itself with a narrowed search range. This recursive structure makes the 3 steps of divide and conquer easy to identify. Divide is the calculation of the midpoint to split the array. Conquer is the function calling itself to solve the subproblem in the chosen half. Unlike algorithms like merge sort, binary search has no combine step. Once the value is found, no additional work is needed to merge results. While the iterative version is often more memory efficient, the recursive syntax clearly maps out the mathematical subdivisions we use for complexity analysis. From the recursive code, we derive this recurrence relation: T of n equals T of n over 2 plus 1. The Tn over 2 term represents the single call made to 1/2 of the data. The plus 1 represents the constant time cost of the comparison performed at each step. We can visualize this using a recursion tree. Starting at n, the problem size is halved at every level: n over 2, n over 4, and so on. The process stops once the problem size reaches a single element. The height of this tree, k, is determined by how many times we can divide n by 2 before reaching 1. This gives us a height of log base 2 of n. Multiplying the constant work at each level by the tree's height results in a time complexity of theta log n. We can confirm this using the master theorem. We align our relation with the general template, T of n equals A times T of n over B plus F of n. Here, A is 1, B is 2, and the driving function f of n is 1. Plugging these in, the critical exponent is n to the power of log base 2 of 1. Since log 2 of 1 is 0, this simplifies to n to the power of 0, or simply 1. We compare this result to our f of n, which is also 1. Because these values are equal, the relation falls under case 2 of the master theorem. Both the tree visualization and the algebraic proof confirm that the algorithm operates within a theta log n time bound. While the time complexity is the same for both implementations, the space complexity differs. The iterative version uses constant space, but the recursive version scales to order log n. This is because every recursive call adds a new layer to the system's memory stack, which grows as the search space deepens. In the best-case scenario, where the first midpoint happens to be the target, the algorithm completes in omega 1 time. To understand why this efficiency matters, consider a dataset with 1,024 elements. A linear search might require all 1,024 comparisons to find an element or confirm it's missing. Binary search will never take more than 10 comparisons to achieve the same result. This graph illustrates the gap. As n grows, the linear search time increases at a constant rate, while the binary search curve flattens. This logarithmic efficiency is what allows modern systems to search through massive datasets in milliseconds. However, this efficiency depends entirely on the data being sorted. If the cost of sorting the data is higher than the savings from searching it, a linear search might actually be faster for one-off operations. Binary search shows how organizing data transforms high-latency linear processes into efficient logarithmic steps.